All right, we're live. We're waiting on Lucy. This is 2 weeks in a row that the athlete has been late, that the professional athlete has been late. So what does that tell you about professional athletes?
I don't care.
She actually said, so she's coaching. She said that she coaches until, technically has to be there until 8, but like this is sod's law. She said that she never has to stay until 8 because people are always gone by 7:30 or 7:30. So then naturally this would be the week that like someone is like, oh, I just need to stretch out such and such a thing, and she's like, fuck's sake, come on. So she'll join whenever she can join, I guess. I'll get some little bits and pieces out of the way anyway. So Beyond the Whiteboard sponsor this show. I mean, I'm yet to figure out the logic of that, but anyway, they're bringing in a new system, and it offers member billing, scheduling, workout tracking all in the same app. And it makes it painless to switch and will handle migrating all your members' payment info, membership plans, class schedules, all that kind of stuff. You can sign up at btwb.com. I actually have a little banner for this, I think, somewhere. There it is. It's / all-in-one. So you can go there and sign up. I don't get anything. So, I mean, don't sign up if you don't want to. But they asked me to say that, so I've said it. So we've got 2 of our semi-finalists are already qualified. Hiller has qualified from week 1. The semi-final is on next week. Hiller has qualified from week 1. Chase has qualified from week 2. And then we have someone out of Bella, John, and if she turns up, Lucy Campbell will qualify to face off against 2 of them. Look at that. Beyond the Whiteboard is great for tracking workouts. Anyone ever use them as a gym software? I assume somebody has.
Here's the thing, guys. I think a woman needs to be in the semifinals. So, John, if you want to just bow out now, give me and Lucy the option.
I can check out right now. You guys want to finish this off?
Yeah, listen, I think just put the crown on my head. Here we go.
Bella, if you think you're getting into the final purely off the basis of having ovaries, you've got another thing coming. There's no DEI council on this podcast. It's just like
there's no diversity. What is this? No. Come on.
Yeah, so we've got so John Singleton is like nearest to me here. He's a head coach of the program. He's been doing CrossFit since 1997. He's living the life of a peasant farmer on the island of Majorca in a sort of like a CrossFit homage to Mr. Miyagi. So he's like counting his cats and walking cows and stuff, and then he's going in and making CrossFitters. Fences. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shearing sheep. We should have Lucy Campbell at some point. She's a games athlete, semi-final co-commentator. She did the semi-finals at Chase last year in Berlin. She's an affiliate coach and another British person. So she's got that going against her. Lucy Campbell is missing Savannah, but she's coming, I'm told. And then last up, we have Bella Martin. She's a field reporter, an MC, jet setter, and I'm guessing has an absolutely nuts amount of air miles built up over the last 12 months. And as of last night, she's one of the 3 most important analysts in the international CrossFit space, according to one of the other 2 most important analysts in the CrossFit space. Well, so Brian said. He said the 3 of you are the most important. So I'm handing you that award.
Thank you.
So how long will I give her? That's 3 minutes. I'll drop her a little text.
The honor, but
who am I looking for? Lucy. She shared this. I mean, she's obviously intending on coming because she shared the story a while ago, unless she has the wrong link or doesn't know where the link is. I don't have a number for her, so maybe she's hoping. Oh, there she is. Maybe she's hoping that she'll just get a bye to the next stage.
Yeah, right.
Hello.
Wow, it's very zoomed in. I wasn't quite expecting to be this close. I feel like I need to sit further away.
So you're going to start on -5 because you're late. But apart from that, everything will be fine.
In fairness, I warned you. I said that I finished coaching at 8. It's going to be tight.
Yeah. It's hard not to make that's what she said jokes when there's females on the show. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but anyway.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
All right. We're going to kick off straight away. I think this should skip down to 3, but maybe it won't. Okay, I'll let this run down to 3 because that's one of the mistakes I made last week because it just ran for way too long. Okay. So first up, you're going to have 60 seconds per topic. There's no fucking around. I wasn't supposed to swear. 5 minutes, 1 second. I'm grand. Okay. There's 60 seconds per topic. So John, you're going to go first, then Bella, then Lucy. Then we'll come back up the way. John will go again. He'll have 20 seconds to either rebuke something that someone else has said or build upon it or like clarify something that he said himself. And then I'll give out some points. Then we move on to the second topic, which Bella will go first, then Lucy, then John, and so on. And then the last topic, Lucy will go first. So everyone has a chance going first. Everyone has a chance going last. Obviously, the pitfalls of going last is some of your points might be taken. The benefits of going last is you can listen to what John says and then call him an idiot and prove why he's an idiot and when it's your go. Our first topic. So last week on Get With The Programming, Chase allowed his idea that he has come up with himself to fly out into the world on real-time strength of field. So I sent you guys the episode and I told you to watch. If you didn't, like, you're kind of in a bit of trouble here. But anyway, so you can go back and watch it.
It's a long bit of homework.
It was 2 hours.
When I saw like a 2-hour video come through, I was like, wow.
Yeah, but you just turn up the playback speed
1.5.
and then you just listen to it.
Well, I go 2.
Go 2, and then when I come on at like 4 a.m. my time, you slow it down to see like why did I get up at that time. So you can go back, you can go to the Get With The Programming YouTube page, you can watch that episode back if you want to see Bill, Chase and Halpin detail it, break it all down, explain how it's going to work. Obviously that's a 2-hour episode, but the plan is during the Open it'll be just 15-minute episodes each week. So that was the combined Open and quarterfinals from last year. Next year it'll be like bang bang bang. And every region on Chase's idea, every region is going to get 1 spot allocated minimum that cannot be taken away. And then after that, every week of the Open, the strength of field or the worldwide rankings top 100 will change based off how people are doing in the Open, and that will affect who gets what places for semifinals. After week 2, it'll change again. After week 3, it'll change again, and so on. So it's a real-time live allocation of semifinals rather than the current model, which is a historical like 2-year look back on semifinals. It doesn't take into account people like, say, or whatever that have opted out or are injured or whatever's going on. So my question is, will this work? Can this work? And why should or should it not be implemented? If you go over your 60-second
question you sent to us.
It wasn't. It was viable. It was how viable is it?
Because I had a 1-word answer.
No.
Very.
Super.
Okay, so will this work? Very. So you got 60 seconds. If you go over your time, you'll be muted. It's fairly cutthroat. And then it'll be the next person's go after that. So John, you're up first. You got 60 seconds. Your time starts now.
So I do believe it is a very viable system. You know, as we saw on the episode that you guys did, you can see that this can be put together. I think that anything that brings clarity to the season and what the athletes are doing, so a clear worldwide ranking system is very important because it makes the sport easier to follow. And also a very important point is that, as we'd seen from last year, Europe would have gained more spots, which is something that I'm all in favour for. And that meant Jacqueline would have qualified. So, you know, I think it's like a winning system here. One thing, the most important thing I think is that we can create something that makes the sport easier to follow. Bella, I'm going to hand you 15 more seconds.
Wow.
Okay, I'll take the 15 seconds. Can I go?
No, you can't take his 15 seconds. No, you cannot take his 15 seconds.
Dang it. Okay.
All right, Bella, you're up. Off you go.
Okay, I will agree with you on that I do think it is very, in terms of viable, because it does create clarity for the sport and moving forward. And I think not only does it, you know, offer up an opportunity for European athletes to get more representation at the games and higher rankings, also in Australia, 2 of those places, we see these athletes that are phenomenal competitors that actually would stand a chance against some of these athletes that are going to the games from the US. They're competing off season and they're putting up scores, putting up weights, putting up times that are very competitive, but they'll never get a chance to go to the games. Example would be Pete Ellis. If he wants to compete at Torian this year, he has to beat out Ricky. He has to beat out Jay Crouch and Bailey Martin. 3 athletes that are almost definitely going back to the games, but given a chance, Pete doing well in the Open would give him the opportunity to make a spot in the games or, you know, semifinals if they give them more spots because they are only getting 3. So I do agree with you there. I also think it limits opportunity in other places.
It's harsh, isn't it? It's really harsh. All right, Lucy, you're up. You got 60 seconds. Off you go.
So I agree with everything that has been said so far. The more we can clarify the sport, and at the same time, the more we can make the sport look the same from season to season, the better. My question would be around the manpower that something like that would require in terms of validating videos and stuff like that. The more kind of week to week it is, the more on it CrossFit would have to be with those kind of things. And I would say that based on current reputation, I wouldn't hold my breath with whether or not that would be reliable and consistent. I also think that we need to be careful about allocating spots based on online competition in general, because I think we can see that in some regions it's, and I hate to bring drugs into it, but it's easier to get your hands on PEDs that then don't get tested in online events.
Cool. Okay. Right. We go back down the way, and we got 20 seconds each this time. So, John, you can build on your own point, clarify something, or build or criticize something somebody else has said. So this time we've only got 20 seconds. So off you go, John.
So I think Bella's point is very good, that it gives athletes who are in physically better shape more opportunity to get to the games rather than just being allocated on countries. And I also like Lucy's point that, we probably shouldn't be focusing on the online events and can get more in-person events to qualify.
Cool. Bella, you're up.
So this is going to go with what Lucy was saying, but also kind of add and negate at the same time. So with the association of, professional judges coming into play, sending them out to judge these athletes in these online events will also, I think it would kind of go with the reliability, go with the consistency of judging, but also at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
I'm chatty.
Barry, where is his comment? He's bang on. Pedro loves the downness of the mic. I really do. All right, Lucy, you got 20 seconds. Off you go.
So I'm actually going to go off something that Chase and that said, which on their podcast, which was that they thought that it would be really cool if someone like, Pat Bellner and Jeffrey Adler went to someone who was, on that sort of margin and really encourage them in the gym. They're too busy concerned about getting first and second or first position to worry about the bottom field.
Cool. Okay. Right. I'm going to divvy out your scores. So, I mean, this is going to sound harsh, but it's just going to give you an idea of what the show is about. You all essentially said "fuck all" there. That's just the honest criticism or honest critique of it. So I thought you all said yeah, it would be good. So I'll show you the points.
I'm going to say I feel very sorry for the kids in your class. You're pretty sad.
I don't swear at them, but I do tell them if they're not making a proper effort. So John,
it's a weird question.
John,
2.
Is it very?
How did Bella jump up to 2? What is this about?
She gave some specific examples. So she gave some specific people and regions that it would help. Like Ellis won down under, and he probably won't go to the games this year.
You just want bullet points. I can give you bullet points.
Dude, I want
specifics. I want specifics.
Notes.
Why did you write John as a prick on the middle of your page? I want specifics. I want real talk. I don't want hypothetical. Bella nearly lost a point for saying that they're going to send out judges because there's more people doing quarterfinals than ever. So sending out judges is that's it. That's
But it's the idea of it. No, but it's the idea of it. Having professional judges, not necessarily saying CrossFit is going to send them, but having a standard of, not necessarily someone has to just take the online judging course. I want them to be part of this judges organization because there's going to be a level of standard. And if you, in your words, fuck up or do fuck all as a judge, then you should be penalized for it.
Yeah, but camps did that last year and CrossFit penalized them anyway. So I don't think that really matters.
Yeah. You lost a point for that, Bella, because that was a bad. You made a bad point and then doubled down on.
But we're not even in the thing though.
Doesn't matter.
Even in my talking time.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
In my mind, I still have to.
It was a poor take. You lose points for poor takes. Okay. All right, topic 2. Bella, you're up first on this one. So, Don Fowle last week, about 3/4 of the way through a Talking Leaf Fitness episode that was just about semi-finals that he happened to show up on, he said that CrossFit are pushing financial resources towards technology. There have also been some minute changes that if you go into CrossFit Games app, you might notice it looks a little bit different. And I believe that the app will become a CrossFit app, and that it will be a one-stop shop for like the store, education course links, like affiliate map, programming, cap, that kind of stuff will all be available in this one app, and that they're going to migrate everything towards this. My question is that a good use of resources, and why or why not, and what uses can it serve to us and the community at large? So Bella, you're up first. You got 60 seconds.
I don't think it's a good allocation of resources because I think we're trying to do too many things here. I think more resources need to be put towards the CrossFit Games season, and more resources need to be put towards the actual coaching courses themselves. I think that if we create an app, it will never be more successful than the other programming apps that we already have. Even if CrossFit HU is going to put programming on there, it's not going to be the main source of news. There are several different news sources that CrossFit athletes, CrossFit, content consumers, everybody that's in the space already leans on those people. So unless they're going to be using those creators and those news outlets as well to put them on there, that's not going to be the main source of news. Also, if there's something that I want to know, the first place that I'm going to look in the morning is not going to be the CrossFit app. If I want to learn about what's going on in CrossFit, it is not going to be it from their app. If I want to learn something new from a course, yes, then I will go there. And if they make their continuing education courses more easy to use and more friendly on an app, I'm all for that. But I do not think that that is the best resource and putting towards all their money. Look at me.
Wow, you actually did really well on timing there. Well done.
Thank you. I just read my points and that was it.
All right, Lucy, you're up. You got 60 seconds. Off you go.
So I agree with Bella. I think it's not necessarily the best source of their money, but I do think it could go some way in terms of coordinating a single source of news. I know that when I talk to a lot of my members at CFN, not my members, I don't own the box, but our members at CFN, there's a large proportion that actually don't realise that CrossFit happens kind of outside of our box walls, even though you've got 2 games athletes at the box. So I think it would be a good way of kind of providing that, community feel and then the elite side. I also think that actually the more we can take away from Instagram, the better, because as an athlete, there are certain times that I would come away from Instagram. I also don't want that to be the main source of my news. I would like to receive that elsewhere. So I think a good app that is clear and consistent would help with that. Very
good. All right, Johnny, you're up last. Never called you Johnny before.
So I have no idea in regards to if allocating budget towards this is a good idea or not, mainly because I have no idea about the financials of CrossFit. But I do think there's still this ongoing issue. It's kind of like the sport of CrossFit and the community aspects. And I think something that Bella mentioned, it kind of like everything gets blurred into this, like, are we working towards the community or are we working towards the sport? And I think they need to bring a lot of clarity if they are going to do an app into what they are focusing on. Because I think that, for example, an app that focuses on the sport could be really useful. You follow competitions, you follow the athletes. There are plenty of other sports that have done this. Or if you build an app that's focused on the community where you can talk about, maybe certain health benefits or whatever the aspect may be, I think that clarity of the direction that they're going needs to be taken into consideration.
Good stuff. All right, we'll go back down the line. You got some work to do. Right, so 20 seconds each this time. Bella, you're going first again. Off you go.
Okay, I'm going to agree to disagree with what Lucy is saying. I think if we're going to have an app and they're going to use that as the main news source, they have to agree to make it reliable and consistent and timely. And that is the biggest problem when it comes to CrossFit and getting news out to the masses, to athletes and everything. It's never on a time base where, hey, we're going to give it to you at this time, at this.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. You were doing so well. You did well on the last one.
I know. I know.
All right, Lucy, you're up.
I mean, I would say that that's actually agreeing with exactly what I said. But, because I think from my perspective, like having workouts leaked is frustrating, having conflicting information is frustrating. And so if this was their app as like a one-stop shop for everything, and whatever happens whatever is said on the app goes, then that's great.
Good stuff. Incredibly well timed as well. All right, John, last one. You got 20 seconds.
I'm just going to double down on that kind of sport versus community, because I think that if CrossFit is going to do an app, the clarity of direction of who the app is going to help and what information is going to be on there is very important. And if that's not established, it may just end up a mess.
Pretty good timing. So Chase was supposed to do the back end on this, but he had to do like his real job. So I forgot to put up the question on screen all the time, but whatever, it's fine. Whatever, doesn't matter. So I'll just do up your scores. Oh, look at that. I don't need to change.
That wasn't even the actual question, though.
No, it wasn't.
It was
the question you sent us was, what impact could a CrossFit app with programming, sport, methodology, news, store, and links to external outlets have on the community?
Yeah, but the question
there was a lot more to unpack.
Right, you want me to put all that up on screen?
No,
the question
I do agree with Bella on this. I mean, I just feel like there are many curveballs in these discussions.
The question I give you guys has like hints and like talking points for you to build off of. The question I give on the show
but I have talking points.
But then why didn't you use them?
Also, I will say
I don't have enough time.
I noticed some errors in the email. If you want me to go through those.
Oh, that's so weird, John. I've never had to mute anyone during the show before. That's bizarre. So, John, you're sticking on 1.
Wow.
So
can I get reasoning for this?
You floated a hypothetical and then never built upon it. So you never said like, what should they do to like, how should they use the app for the community? How should they use the app for the sport? You just said that it's important to differentiate the two, and then you use and then you raise
Can I raise my hand at this point?
I can fucking mute you. Then you also after that you also used up your own 20 seconds to repeat what you had already said in your 60 seconds of. I just would like to just go on record again as saying that I think my point was a good point.
Okay. Do I reply or do you?
I mean, you have the right to reply. Yeah.
No. I'll accept. I'll accept this harsh critique.
Yeah. Bella, you got a half a point. To be honest, Lucy like immediately won me over when she started saying having a centralized place for information, where it was like that's where you go to get your information. Like that's the point that you go to instead of going to Instagram or like I love watching Days Week in Review, but instead of going and watching that, you actually just have an app and you're like, oh shit, they've like you get a notification like, oh shit, they announced their semifinals are, and you click in and read it, and you can, and then they can beta test it, and then they can. Well, you already have the games app from doing the Open, so it's just changing the name of the app.
I know, but I don't like when I think of the games app, it's I go on it, during the season. It's not an app in my mind that I'm thinking of when I'm not there. I'm going to go to the internet. I'll go to the website, or I'll go to your Instagram, or I'll go to anybody else's Instagram.
If you go to my Instagram
it's rewiring my brain to find something new.
If you're going to Instagram, if you're going to my Instagram to get news, you are fucked. Also, I would say,
know what I'm saying.
Anything that gets people to think, hey, do I need to be subscribed to Morning Chalk Up anymore? Because now, like, I can just go to the CrossFit app. Anything that gets people to start running down that line, at least they have more of a chance of spelling athletes' names right. Okay. So the final, God, that was so catty. The final topic. Catty. So Lucy's on 3. Bella's on 1.5. I've never gotten a half point before. John's on 1. So it actually, I mean, John, you're looking at me like this is like the end of our friendship, but you only need 2 points to pull yourself back into contention. And I actually feel like this could be a pretty strong topic for you. So final topic. So last few years, there's been a push towards live-in camps, athletes moving to camps. HWPO had a raft of athletes move up to Vermont and like live there for prolonged periods of the season and move back and forward, but largely stay in situ. Same with Brute in Florida. They had like 5-6 athletes all living there. There's other examples as well. Now, HWPO doesn't seem to have anyone in situ full-time anymore. Brute, I think only have Fee Sagafi and Dallin staying there where they are now. it's looking like Mayhem are becoming an outlier, having athletes hanging around for long periods of time, and Think Tank have a couple as well, but a lot of theirs are remote too. So my question is, are live-in training camps dead? So Lucy, you're going to go first on this, and then we'll come back up the line to John.
So long story short, yeah, I do think they are. I think we'll tend to see more of a mix, maybe people going to camps for prep periods. But I feel like sometimes there's a bit of an underestimation of actually like how impactful it can be for athletes moving away from everything that's familiar and bringing their whole life focus to being CrossFit. That's not necessarily conducive for some. And also elite athletes are a really hard bunch to manage. You know, you've got a lot of big personalities there a lot of the time. It's very tense. It can be really intense. And as an athlete, you've got a direct kind of assessment of how you're doing. You know, you either get beaten in a workout or you win in a workout, quote unquote. And that can be really hard to deal with. And then we always have this, there was this old swimming saying, which was a happy swimmer is a fast swimmer. And I think fundamentally, if the athlete is happy outside of that environment, then that's going to reflect in the sport.
Good stuff. John, you're up next.
So I don't believe they are dead. You've got like some good examples. For example, Mayhem is probably a good example. You also have in Oslo, there's obviously a big group of athletes training together. And, you know, us as well included as the group, you know, we had the examples of Comp Train or All Hard Work Pays Off, where, you know, we really tried to introduce athletes living together for a period and it didn't work. And so I think it's about finding a sustainable model. Some of the points that Lucy's made are very important, that there's a lot of other factors rather that go into it, you know, your friends, your family. And if you don't have that supportive environment around you, it can be hard. So I think that they're not dead necessarily. But I think there needs to be evolution in the sport in terms of, you know, can athletes afford to move away? Or it's about finding a sustainable model for athletes to train for a certain period away from home and where they are.
Thank you. Jeremy doesn't like the fact that you say example. So
I'm sorry, Jeremy.
Luckily or unluckily for you, I'm in charge of the muting, so you're okay for now.
Okay.
All right, Bella, 60 seconds.
Okay, I'm sticking to what I know. I don't think training camps are dead, and I don't think they will be dead if numbers is what we're focusing on. If we're trying to get as many athletes as we can under the same training banner, training camps are successful, and they've proven to be successful. I think Underdogs and CrossFit Mayhem are the two in my mind that I believe are actual live-in training camps with success. I don't think the HWPO training camp was ever really meant to be where all of the athletes go. I think that's just kind of what happened to it. And I think a big reason that the actual camps themselves are dying and athletes are leaving is what Lucy was saying, is these socialization issues where sometimes athletes aren't always the friendliest and these athletes don't get along very well. So you're seeing them kind of get at it and then they need to leave just for their own sake of mind. If you're comparing it to other sports, track athletes train together, swimmers train together, NFL teams all train together, and it's proven to be beneficial for the athletic performance. And yeah, that's what I'm going with that. Yep. Nice. I'm going to take my time. I went off my points and I'm only going to give my points.
Hiller is obviously watching his competition from next week. He said, Bella said, proven to be successful, which is incredibly ironic. That's actually pretty funny. All right. So we come back down the way. Lucy, you got 20 seconds to build on your own or criticize someone else's or build on someone else's.
So I do think that they work. I just don't necessarily think that they are sustainable for high levels of performance for high periods of time. The atmosphere is tense. And I used to swim. We trained in groups, but I also used to have a go at someone if they didn't train properly. And it was that kind of like boiling situation.
Wow. I didn't want to stop the time there because I was like, who did you have a go at? What did it sound like? What happened? Tell me more.
Stories for ages.
All right. Who's after you? John, 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think if the group is managed well, then it can be hugely beneficial for everyone involved, the athletes and people training, because there are certain levels you can reach together that are harder to attain training alone. And we've seen that through many examples of CrossFit athletes in the past.
He even got examples in again. Brilliant. Jeremy's going to be so pissed off. All right, Bella, 20 seconds, finish us off.
Okay, an example of why I think socialization and what you guys are both saying is what's killing it, but also what's making it better. Athletes and camps need to agree on what these athletes are going to do for culture and how they're going to build upon the foundation of the actual camp itself. You can't just bring people in and expect them all to get along. But if people are already like-minded and have the same cultures and have the same beliefs, things are going.
Sorry.
But they're all like-minded because they want to win. Everyone wants to win.
Mayhem, CrossFit mayhem.
Yeah.
And they're happy. I know I'm probably muted still, probably.
No,
but
you're not.
If you're thinking of CrossFit mayhem, all these athletes are going up to Cookful. They have obviously their faith, which is what ties them all together, and then they learn how to adapt socially with each other. If you see someone like Roman's out there, he's successful. He barely spoke English when he got out there. He's fitter than he's ever been.
Well, if you ask his
Just
translator who's giving him food at the finish line of the events, he still doesn't speak English.
He did an interview. He did an interview in Dubai, and he spoke English.
So he doesn't
we
need
talked about
food
it
at the finish
yesterday.
line anymore. Then we can just get that on
Everybody needs
record.
food everybody needs food at the finish line. If you're not at the finish line, handing me gummy bears, come on.
All right, I'm going to divvy out some points. That got kind of feisty. All right.
That was my favorite one. That was the one that I had the most to
talk for a
say.
while on that. Yeah.
Right? And I think it really is a polarizing topic though, because I think it's very, for the top athletes, you might not need a training camp, but if it's a numbers game and you're trying to get the most possible people to the finish line, which is the games, I think the training camp is a proven model that is successful and will remain intact moving forward.
I'm after clicking the wrong question. Where the fuck is the question you asked on? Who's winning at Mayhem?
Roman? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I watched it. I watched the.
He followed it up at that point. Rome would have won anywhere, not just at Mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's probably like when I kind of thought of that question, and then I invited you guys on, and then I was like, well, I'm assuming John's first thought when he sees that is like, I fucking hope not. It's like, it's part and parcel of what you offer. Like the scenario that you've set up is one where the athletes are in situ for prolonged periods of time, and that's like, obviously the athletes come, you've got Moritz who doesn't actually live there, but who visits frequently and stuff. It is an interesting one.
I do think as well that there is a big advantage to athletes being able to train together. I mean, there is the obvious factor that some athletes might not get on, and that makes the environment harder. And I also think the big factor may be that the sport is not big enough or sustainable enough to create these larger groups. So I think there's a few of those things. Like one of the reasons why it may work at Mayhem is because it's like, it's an empire. I mean, they have the training facilities they have are just phenomenal. I mean, they have 3 or 4 gyms now. They have a huge community. And so it's just got to the stage where it's big enough that, it's not just a large group of athletes training in a small gym, but it's actually like its own little village, And so I think once it gets to a certain stage, it might be more sustainable than in a smaller setting.
But
Ramler brings up the point. He says, is Laura Horvath and Gabby Magala training together? Is that a camp? I think that's more like what I'm talking about, where they visit and they train apart, they train together, and they visit Krypton and train with Ben with eyes on, and then they leave again. But they're not in Krypton for like 6 months,
right?
And like intense all the time.
But that's those athletes that they might not need the training camp, and that's the difference between the numbers argument. Yeah. Another thing we didn't talk about is these athletes that are at the living training camps are getting content because they have creators that are there. And how are athletes supposed to make money in the off season? Content. Let's get brand deals. Let's do all these things. And they're getting access to that because they're already living there. They also get that one-on-one feedback from the coach. If you're doing something wrong, or if there's something that someone could immediately tell you as you're doing it to do better, you're getting that because you're right there. You're not going to get that instant feedback if you're not with your coach at the time.
Are we getting scored for this bit?
No, I was genuinely.
I think we're just chatting.
I was genuinely. I was seconds away from muting Bella there, where I was like, "We need to wrap this up."
Fine, mute me.
All right, so scores then. So John pulled himself back nicely there. Bella got 1.5 points. She doubled her score. John brought himself up to 3. Lucy wins on 4. Largely the second round largely pulled you away from the rest there, with having a centralized news source and stuff like that. That got you some points from me. So next we have a job. So Lucy, you would now get 30 seconds to talk about any topic that you want to talk about. You can highlight, I don't know, your own affiliate. You can highlight whatever you want. I don't mind. And then after that, I need to remind myself of what the prize is for this week, and you're going to pick someone in the comments to win the prize. I can't currently remember what the prize is, but I will remind myself. And you can start now if you want. Give yourself 37 seconds.
Well, you know what? I'm actually going to carry on the conversation uninterrupted, just with a ramble. I do actually, my argument is not necessarily that training camps don't work. I do think that there is a massive benefit to training with people, and I love training camps for that reason. But it has to be very, very specific people if you're going to be there for a prolonged period of time with those people, because it can get spicy. My dad, is that it?
Hitter asked, how do you get 6 points? You go on death by. That's how you get 6 points. We don't give out 6 points. And I say something like astonishingly good, you're not getting 6 points. It's not like fucking Santa Claus going around just throwing shit out to people.
How many points can you get per question? Is there a limit to the amount of points per question?
No, it depends. Depends how good your points are. It depends how many specific examples you use. It depends how wild but effective your take is. It depends how passionate you are at making your take. It depends. Like Jeffrey Birchfield said, I want to see your scoring rubric. How about fuck you, Jeffrey? How about fuck you?
I want to see what other people score us. Do people like our comments? I can't see the comments.
Yeah, this is actually maybe a good idea that you should put it out to the comments.
Do you know what you could do, John? You could start your own show, and then you can run it whatever way you want to run it. It's kind of hard to watch the comments and do the stuff as well, but I did see someone at one point, because I thought it and then saw it in a comment of specific examples. I think it was Elise or someone said that Lucy had used specific examples, which said, yeah, great example.
Good job.
Kevin said John is winning. He's watching another.
I actually voted for John to win.
He's watching another debate. I think.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, there was others. I'm not going back all the way through it, but it may not seem like it, but I really do appreciate you guys coming on. It's I know it's hard because you've only got 60 seconds and 30 seconds or whatever. It's kind of tricky, but that's the name of the game, and I don't want it to turn into. I made that mistake the first week, and I don't want it to become that, where it's just fucking rambling and like long bits in between. And then you can talk for, like, someone commented at one point and said, why don't you just get rid of the clock and let them talk? And I was like, what? Like, how does that make sense? Like, if you take off all restrictions, then this show will last 4 hours. And like, you know what I mean? We'll just be agreeing and disagreeing with each other for endless time. Lucy, yeah, it's a podcast though. This is a game. Lucy, you've got to pick someone now to win. So can you see the comments, Lucy?
Yeah.
Like the live chat. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to scroll up and down, and you got to pick someone. And that person, I'm just going to remind myself of what the prize is because I can't remember. You're going to pick someone to win a $200 LSKD voucher. So $200 to spend on site, and it can be for anyone anywhere in the world, because you can buy online, and you like in Australia or America or rest of the world. And if you use CPW LSKD, you'll get a discount as well.
I feel like this person is what does that symbol mean next to their name?
The green thing.
Yeah.
It means they're a member, so they've paid money to say that they like the show, or more likely, Caved Astro gifted them a membership because he's given away about 200 of them already.
So do we want members to win it or not?
It's up to you. It's totally up to you.
Okay, we'll go for Rambler, who said that I was the best swimmer in the game. Thanks.
He also said carbs are a national sedative. He's been picked twice. He won.
Oh,
he
I
won.
Choose someone else.
No, he won a year. He won a year of SMTP, and then he gave it away because he lied.
So nice.
He lied and said he doesn't have Instagram. He just doesn't want people to know who he is, because who doesn't have Instagram?
This is why they need an app.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We
So
all
actually, so he gave it away. Cave Dastro took it, which is like Dave Castro's alter ego. I
Oh, I
don't have
love
IG.
Cave.
Like
We love
he has
Cave.
said multiple times. He has said multiple times that he is a college kid, and then he says he doesn't have like where is it? I really don't. What event did you swim? Oh, like when you were swimming.
Yeah.
Like
You wanna know?
what was your race when you were swimming?
Well, anything really.
Okay.
I made national finals for 400, 800, 1500 free, and 400 IM, and I was GB open water for 5 and 10K.
Cool. And you won the Wadapalooza swim, run, row or something, didn't you? On that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. So Rambler, he can't even accept the prize. How's he going to accept the prize? He doesn't have Instagram. You're going to have to email me. Right, Rambler, you got an hour. If you don't email me or DM me in an hour, I'm giving that voucher to someone else. If that is because I have to give you there's a code. I have to hand you the code. Like I have to send you the code, and there's no way for me to send you the code privately if you don't have email or if you coffeepodsandwads@gmail.com. So if you email me coffeepodsandwads@gmail.com, like ridiculous. Don't have IG. Fucking absolute nonsense. All right, next week, Lucy, you have to come back on next week at 8:00. Probably should have told you that at the start that you may have to come back on. So you have to come back on next Wednesday at 8:00, and it's going to be Lucy Campbell, Chase Ingram, and Andrew Hiller.
Good luck.
And I've been
Jesus Christ.
Chase has done 455 episodes of Death by now, so he's well versed in debating and how to debate and stuff. And like, yeah, Hiller's Hiller. And I actually sent someone. I sent JR one of the questions that I was thinking of for next week. I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he was like, "Ask it." So like, I've saved some spicy ones for the semi-final. So thanks very much. Go and I don't know, buy a whiteboard and stand behind it, and you can say you're beyond the whiteboard. Or download the app and use it or whatever. Thanks, Lucy. Thanks, Bella, and thanks, John. Nice t-shirt, John. Congratulations.